Hey everyone, Ray Sawvell, raysawvell.com. In today's video, we are going to be reviewing YouTube ads and how to take your budget to make it work for you as efficiently as possible. Because on YouTube, there are so many different bells and whistles, and I'm going to show you how to take your budget to make it work for you as efficiently as possible. So let me know if you have any questions and let's get started. The first thing I want to start off with is mention that Google is giving away $150 where they will match your spend penny for penny, up to $150. So I'll have a link somewhere on the screen how you can claim that. I have a YouTube video on how to go through that process. I'm not affiliated with this in any way. It's just something that I've actually used myself and seen some great results, so make sure to check that out. But this is the YouTube ads and Google ads platform, and this is where you are going to be buying your media. So I'm not going to show you how to set up a Google ads account. It's pretty straightforward and you'll be able to figure it out. It's really easy. But once you get into the platform, there's so many different things you can do. And if you do not set up your campaign properly, there's chances that you can spend a ton of money for views. And I've set it up in a way where I'm looking for the most efficient and the most targeted audience as possible. Because when you think about it, there are millions and millions of people viewing YouTube every single day. And how do you get to your target audience, whoever that may be? And I'm going to show you a couple of examples on what I did. So right now I have campaigns paused, but the lifetime of this campaign, I spent about close to $100. I've generated about 3.5K views. I do have subscribers that I've generated off of this as well. If you look at my analytics, you can see during this time frame, here's where I saw the massive spike. And I've seen about 63 subscribers in the past 28 days. A large amount of that attributed to my YouTube ads. So with that $150 coupon, when you think about it, there's just a pretty decent spend that you can put out there to get your name out there. And if you pair it with different affiliate marketing techniques, that's also going to work really well for you as well, because I use a really great tool. It's called TubeBuddy. Link will be down below, and I have no issue saying that I'm running some affiliate marketing campaigns with them because it's such an amazing tool, and I have no issues marketing that tool for them because it's so great. But for Google ads, what you're going to want to do is set up a YouTube campaign. So if you go to the campaign section here and then click this blue plus button, you'll be able to make a new campaign from scratch. And Google by default is going to ask you, what is your goal of the campaign? In my opinion, this isn't super relevant. You don't have to do this. If you just click on create a campaign without a guidance, and then if you go to video, it's going to then take you into a different type of campaign and how to set this up. Now, there's two schools of thought, and you can either run an ad that is non-skippable, which is typically called a pre-roll ad, that runs before other videos in your niche or anywhere close to it, which is one option. The other option is you can run ads that are going to be showing up on the top of the YouTube search results page. So if somebody goes to YouTube and types in Google Analytics, these rankings up here, there's a chance for your ad to fire up there. So think of it as like a YouTube ad showing up on the YouTube search. That's one option, but then another option that's YouTube pre-roll. Both have their benefits. I would recommend starting with both to start. So for this video, let's go with custom video campaign, because we can choose all of those options in our campaign type, which is exactly what we want to do. And then you start running into campaign creation. So I'm just going to call this, I'm going to call it TubeBuddy test campaign. The bidding strategy we're going to roll with is called maximum cost per view bidding, and a view in YouTube's eyes is if somebody has seen 30 seconds of your video or the entire thing, whatever comes first. So you know it's a pretty legit view. I wouldn't recommend going the CPM base, meaning you pay for the cost of every 1,000 impressions. Go the CPV route. It's the better way to go, trust me. For budget, why don't you just start with $1 a day for now, and we can change this really easily down the road. It isn't set in stone, but let's just go for $1 a day. And then here's where it gets interesting in the networks tab. So you can say, I want to show up in the YouTube search results, which is this option here, the search results, or you can have it show up accompanying with YouTube videos. So let's do both to start, and I can show you how they work out. But here's where it gets really interesting. You want to make sure that you're getting your ads as targeted as possible. So when you're running ads, really take a few minutes to dive through your YouTube analytics if you have that data. Go through your Google analytics. Really think about what profile and what target audience you are trying to hit, so you can pare down that video and you're targeting as much as possible to hit that end user. So really keep that in the back of your mind, because that is crucial here. Otherwise, you are going to be wasting spend and your campaign is not going to be as efficient as it can be. So let's go here. I'm gonna hit the whole US. I don't have any issue with even expanding it further, but US is great for me. Inventory type, I really like to do limited inventory. The reason for that is as you start to expand out to standard and expanded inventory, Google is going to kind of flex and expand our targeting that we give it. So if we say only hit 25 to 54 men and women who have an interest in underwater basket weaving, and then we throw on standard inventory, Google might be like, well, they kind of fit this profile, so I'm going to expand on it. Let's not do that. Let's just go right to limited inventory here. And then here's the other interesting part. You can exclude certain campaign types. So if I don't want to show up on live streams, great, I don't want to show up on live streams. If I don't want to show up on embedded YouTube videos, meaning if somebody takes my YouTube video or a YouTube video I am trying to advertise on their website, I don't want to show up there, great. And maybe my brand doesn't want to show up on MA mature audience. So there's just ways to kind of tailor this, and then they kind of hide this on you guys. This additional settings option, make sure you check it out because there's tons of additional stuff in here. Conversions, this is way more advanced. We're not going to go over this right now. Conversions, ideally, you're going to want to be optimizing for some type of conversion. That's going to be a later video. But then devices is where it gets interesting. So I typically like to get rid of TV screens because if I'm trying to get someone to convert or subscribe, I don't necessarily want them to see it on their TV because it's much harder with a TV interface to really do anything other than just consume my content. So I'm gonna not do that. And then depending on your business, you may not wanna show on mobile phones or tablets either. So for my example here, for me talking about TubeBuddy, this really great YouTube analytics platform, which I highly recommend you check out, link down below, selfless plug. I only wanted to target people who were on computers because I wanted somebody who had the option to browse a website very easy outside of mobile. So just an option, so things to think about. And then you can even get down to operating systems, device models, networks, all that jazz. Now here's where the magic happens. And I feel real nerdy for saying that, but here's where the magic happens. Frequency capping, and this means how often is your ad going to show to a specific user on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and on a monthly basis. And when you think about that, this is really giving you more at-bats to different people to get your content in front of them. So instead of serving Billy Bob your ad 30 times, you have the opportunity to serve Billy Bob your ad 4 times in a day, 10 times in a week, and 15 times in a month, and you can really control that. And there's no great answer here outside of testing and really looking at your audience size, which we'll get into. But that's one thing that you'll want to take a look at. So really, I would highly recommend you cap your impression frequency, meaning how often your ad is showing. And then 2, capping your view frequency, meaning how often someone is actually viewing 30 seconds of your video. So typically with a impression frequency, I like to do anywhere between like 5 to 20 a day. And again, it's really going to depend on what your budgets are. If you have higher budgets, you can be much more aggressive here. If your audience is smaller, you may want to up that frequency even more. But for this example, I'm going to say 5 per day. I want to do it only 8 times. Well, let's just say 10 times per week, or even 15 times per week. And then let's just say like 25 times per month. So with this example here, if I am seeing my ad that I'm setting up here, I'm only going to be able to see the ad 5 times. On that 6th time, if I was eligible to see an ad, I'm not going to see it because we have these caps on. Same thing for the week, same thing for the month, and then the same thing will happen with these view caps as well. So for views, if I get someone to watch my ad all the way through for 30 seconds or shorter if it's the entire video, if they saw it 2 times, and that's probably enough for them in most cases. Again, it's going to depend on your brand. If you're trying to go for brand awareness and reach, you may want to up this to like 5 or 10. But if you're trying to get to as many unique people as possible, here's where the magic happens, guys. So make sure you check that out. And then the same thing for the week and then for the month. So you're really able to kind of fine tune that down. I really like to get pretty tight here and do like 3 to 4 times per week. And then per month, I'm going to do 5. I just really want to take my large audience and then spread it across as many people as possible. And then ad scheduling, this is how often you want to show your ads, what times. Depending on your brand, you may want to run your ads only on the weekends. For now, I'm going to leave this because I don't really care when people see my ads, but this can make a huge impact depending on your brand. And then I'm going to skip the ad and the ad group creation because that's going to involve a lot, and I'm going to spend some time on targeting here. So I'm not really going to talk about ad groups and ads too much in this video. This is more focused on targeting because you get the idea. You can write an ad, and I'll show you some examples at the end. You can get, this is not an ad right here, but it's essentially taking an image, a headline, and a description. That's it. Done. I mean, there's some magic that happens there too, but this is the stuff that's going to save you money and make your spend work more efficiently for you. And if you pair it with this $150 coupon here, you're going to give yourself way more at bats, especially to get your content in front of the right eyeballs, which is, in my opinion, 90% of the battle, at least on YouTube for a majority of advertisers to start. If you're starting to spend $5,000 to $10,000 to a lot of big dollars on YouTube per month, the targeting is important, but that's when the ad copy gets really important. So for now, targeting is the way to go. But for demographics, so my target audience that I was really trying to think about for TubeBuddy installations is I was trying to hit people who are YouTube content creators themselves and had some disposable income. Now this is where you need to start taking like some data that you have readily available to you, which I had some in my YouTube analytics, not a ton, along with kind of making some generalizations as well. So what I did, I didn't really care about gender. I did male, female, and unknown. I got rid of the 18 to 24 bracket here because for the most part where my head's at is if somebody's 18 to 24, they might be making content, but they may not have the money to spend on a tool like TubeBuddy, for example, that's, between $50 to $100. They may not have the money to spend. And then I was also thinking on the flip side, someone who's much older, they also may not want to spend that as well. So I kind of messed around and was toying around with even getting rid of like 55 to 64 as well. So for the main part, my money audience from an age perspective was about 25 to 54. And then I didn't touch anything here with the parental status or household income. This is a really tough one. You can experiment with it, but you do have the option to start playing around with if somebody's a parent or what their household income is as well. And one thing to note, household income is only available in some countries. Now, here's the other real money part is audiences. And you see right here, I have a custom intent audience that I created, and that's called How to Become a YouTuber, which is for my target audience, that's what I want to do. And I would recommend almost everybody starts with a custom intent audience. And I'll have a link down in the description about what a custom intent audience is. But essentially, at a really high level, what that means is if somebody goes out to Google, performs a search for a keyword that I give it, or if they view a web page that's similar to a web page that I give it, and then they go anywhere on YouTube, YouTube will then bucket that audience, put them all together in a bucket, and then start serving them my ads. So you'll see this audience size is pretty small, surprisingly. Now you might think 100,000 people is a decent chunk, but when you think about the whole entire United States, getting down to just 100,000 people is pretty small. So what I did here is I have different buzzwords that I did based on Keyword Planner. And again, I'll have another link on the screen for how to use Google Keyword Planner because this is where all these keywords came from. What you can do is grab really specific keywords and then build a list off of it. So I have some corny ones in here, like become YouTube famous, like how to become a successful YouTuber, things like that is relevant for my audience. And then I took a bunch of them, threw it in here, and then an audience is being populated automatically by Google. So now I can target this very specific audience when somebody goes to YouTube and searches for, and they've searched for one of those keywords that I've given them, not just on YouTube, but anywhere across Google, and then they're eligible to see my ads. So let me say that one more time. It's extremely powerful, guys. So if somebody goes to Google anywhere, Google, they're on YouTube, wherever, and they search for how do I become big on YouTube, or they search for one of your niche high commercial intent keywords, I'm then eligible to target that very specific audience and then start serving them my ad and get my name or my brand or my product in front of them. That's amazing. So this is where you want to spend a bunch of time going through the keyword planner, finding these keywords. I'd recommend anywhere, I think Google recommends 50 keywords. I've seen between like 20 to like 40 work okay. So I would say like between like 10 to like 40, like in that range. What you don't want to do is just put one keyword in here or like 5 and call it a day. You want to give the algorithm some information. So, and in order to do that, that's a lot of information. In order to do this piece, what you do is you go to the audiences section, and there's like 10 ways to do this inside Google Ads, but if you're creating a campaign from scratch, what you can do is go to audiences, click on browse, and then you're going to see what they are actively research or planning, and you'll see this custom intent piece. So click here, and then you can make a new custom intent audience. So now I can make another audience and call it TubeBuddy if I wanted. And now if anybody's searching for TubeBuddy, YouTube, SEO, like a bunch of different keywords that I think are relevant, I can make that audience, and then I can target that very specific audience with my ads. So extremely powerful, underrated. A lot of people are not using this specifically when they're making ads to start. They're just targeting hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, because where a lot of people go is they might just go to search here and they might search for YouTube. And then I might be like, oh yeah, I want to hit video software. Yeah, great, I want to do that. But look how large this audience is, guys. 1 billion people. 1 billion. Compared to our audience of 100,000 people. And that's just what happens when you go to in-market audiences or affinity audiences. I would recommend starting from the bottom up, and you want to start with something like a custom intent audience where you have a lot more control. So that's me getting off my soapbox, and where I highly recommend you start is starting with a custom intent audience, as I recommend you'll see the most bang for your buck, especially if you have a smaller budget. On top of that, you can add keywords in there if you would like, but for the most part, the last thing I want to cover here are topics. So you can choose the different type of topics you want your ads to serve on. So YouTube categorizes all of these videos here. If I were to click on on Ranking Academy's video, you can see the category here is how to and style. So Google kind of throws all that together, and I can search for like, how to, and then I can find different like how to videos here, or like how to DIY expert content. So I can target all those how to videos. Or if I'm a realtor, I can type in real estate and hit real estate information videos. So like there's ways for me, again, to take this massive audience and then pare it down to something a lot more relevant. So I challenge you to think about that when you're thinking about YouTube, because there's millions and millions and millions of people watching on this platform every single day. And it's our job to try and get that massive audience down to our cohort of people that are most relevant to our business. Or to you. I mean, if you're a YouTuber and you're trying to get more people, this is something you're going to want to test out. And it works great. Placements, I'm not going to go over placements too much. You can exclude a bunch of placements, and the biggest thing, which I'll have another follow-up video for, and I'll link down in the description, is there's kids videos where you want to exclude all the kids channels out there. There's a shared YouTube list made by someone named Joe Martinez. He's at Clicks Marketing currently, and I use the list all the time. Highly recommend it. Shout out to Joe. But if you think about it, sometimes somebody I might give my iPad or my tablet to my child, and then he might be seeing one of my ads. So I highly recommend getting rid of all of children YouTube channels, because if somebody's on a child's YouTube channel, we don't want them to see our content. So I'll have a link down in the description below. And then bidding, here's what I highly recommend. If you have $1 a day and you're paying 20 cents a bid, that's only going to give you 5 views. Is that good? It's tough to say. If those 5 views are leading to sales, it's great. But my approach typically with people that are starting with really small budgets is setting this to the lowest amount that you can to serve. And for me, I was able to sit between like 3 to 4 cents, meaning for every $1 I spent, I was seeing about 30 to 40 views, right? So it just really kind of depends on what that CPV was. So I recommend starting, as low as you can, and it's really going to depend on your market, on your targeting, because if you're targeting 1 billion people, you might be able to only spend 1 cent to 2 cents per view. But if you're targeting 2,000 people or 5,000 people, it's a much smaller audience and you may not be able to afford that luxury. And then you just make your ads. So that's a lot right there, guys. I went over a ton of information. So if you have any questions, I would definitely like you to let me know below in the comments. I'm more than happy to answer them. There's just so much that goes on with this. And if you do not set up your campaigns properly, you are going to spend a lot. As you can see for my pre-roll campaigns, which is the ad that shows up before a video when somebody searched for TubeBuddy or something along those lines, I was only paying 2 cents per view. But then if somebody was going to the YouTube SERPs page, I was actually paying a little bit more because it's somebody that has searched for a keyword and then they clicked on one of my videos to view it. So I was paying roughly 7 cents each. So it's all going to depend on your niche, who your competition is, and just messing around in here. But again, another really big shout out to TubeBuddy. I would highly recommend checking out this tool. Link will be down below in the description. This tool is one of your best friends, and it's going to allow you to do lots of keyword research. As you can see, I typed in one of my keywords, Google Analytics. It allows you to look for related searches, tags that are used most in the niche, how competitive it is. It just allows you to run a ton of competitive research and get a ton of data, which I love. And it allows you to just kind of get a real quick snapshot and tell you what the space looks like. But if you guys don't have any further questions, drop them down below. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.